All right, let's dive into the arts of tarot spreads. These are the structures, the frameworks that help us turn a deck of cards into a real personal story. It's how we find the narrative that's just waiting there in the shuffle. Ready to learn how to make the cards talk? Let's get into it.
I mean, have you ever shuffled that big deck of 78 cards, laid them out, and just felt completely lost? If so, you are definitely not alone. It can feel like a total jumble of images and symbols with no clear message in sight. So, how do we bring some order to all that beautiful chaos?
Well, the answer is the spread. Think of a tarot spread like a blueprint for a story or even a map. It's a specific pattern that gives every single card a job to do. It's what transforms that random draw into a coherent narrative with a beginning, a middle, and a potential end.
So, we're going to start with the simplest, most direct layout of them all, the one card draw. This is the absolute perfect entry point into the world of tarot.
This is tarot at its most straightforward. You just ask one clear question, maybe something simple like, what energy should I focus on today? Or you could go a little deeper, like, what do I really need to know about this situation? And then you pull a single card. It's fast, it's focused, and it is a fantastic way to build a daily practice.
Okay, so once you've got the hang of that, let's build on it. We're moving from a single card to a 3-card story. This is one of the most versatile layouts out there, and it's where the storytelling really starts to come alive. The classic 3-card spread is all about creating a simple timeline. Card 1 gives you the context, right? The past events that got you here. Card 2 is like a snapshot of what's happening right now. And card 3 points to the potential future, the direction things are heading if the current energy just keeps going.
But the best part about the 3-card layout is that it's incredibly flexible. You can adapt it for almost any question. You could explore your inner world with mind, body, and spirit, or get really practical advice with strengths, weaknesses, and advice, you see? Each combination tells a completely different kind of story. For example, you could use it to understand a relationship dynamic. You'd have one card for you, one for the other person, and then a third card that represents the relationship itself, that shared energy between you. It's such a powerful way to see all sides of a connection. Okay, so what if you need more detail, for those bigger questions or really complex situations? That's when we can turn to some larger, more intricate spreads. Let's take a look at 2 of the most famous ones. The horseshoe and the Celtic cross are your heavy hitters. The horseshoe is this fantastic middle ground. It gives you way more detail than a 3-card pull, but it's still pretty straightforward. It's perfect for when you're facing a specific decision. The Celtic cross, on the other hand, well, that's the classic go-to for a full, deep dive analysis of a situation. The horseshoe spread uses 7 cards. It covers the past and present, but then it adds these fascinating layers. You get hidden influences you might not be aware of, your own attitude coloring the situation, the role other people are playing, and, crucially, a card dedicated specifically to advice before it shows you the likely outcome. So useful. And now for the most iconic spread of them all, the Celtic cross. This 10-card spread is famous for a reason. It creates an incredibly detailed map of where you are right now, covering your conscious thoughts, your subconscious fears, past influences, future potential, the whole shebang. It's like a complete psychological snapshot. Now, don't let those 10 cards intimidate you. The key is to just break it down. You read it in 2 parts. First, you interpret the small cross right in the center, which really gets to the core of the issue. Then you read that vertical line of 4 cards on the side. That's the staff, and it shows how the situation is likely to progress over time. So we have all these layouts, but how do we actually read the cards? This is where we move beyond the structure and get into the real art of interpretation. And the secret? Well, it isn't what you might think. This quote from Bridget Esselmont really gets to the heart of it. A lot of us think we need to memorize 78 different meanings, but that can actually build a wall between you and the cards. The true reading comes from a personal, intuitive connection. You have to trust yourself. Here's a simple process to get you started. First, just look. Seriously, don't reach for a book. What character or color or symbol catches your eye? Then, check in with yourself. How does the card make you feel? Next, just describe what's happening in the picture out loud like you're telling a story. And only then do you connect that little story back to your original question.
Now, here is the magic trick. Don't read each card in isolation. Look at the spread as a whole. How does the energy of that first card flow into the second one? Do the figures in the cards seem to be looking toward each other or away from each other? You're looking for the single cohesive story that connects all the cards. That's when the story really emerges.
And here's an incredibly practical tool to help you do just that. For a 3-card spread, try using this little sentence prompt. When blank, I blank, so blank. You let the first card fill in the when, the second card fill in the I, and the third card fill in the so. Let's see it in action. Let's say you pulled 3 cards that represent anxiety, security, and new beginnings. Your story could be, when I worry about things I can't control, I remind myself that I am safe, so I can make space for new gifts. See how that instantly creates a flowing, meaningful narrative? It's amazing.
And this brings us to the most important point of all. Tarot spreads aren't about predicting some fixed, unchangeable future. They are about something much more personal and, honestly, much more powerful. As research from the Bowdoin Science Journal points out, tarot is very often used as this profound tool for self-reflection. The cards act like a mirror, helping us articulate our own thoughts, fears, and desires. They give us a structure for our inner world, and that can bring a real sense of clarity and comfort.
So a spread doesn't tell you what will happen. It tells you a story about where you are and where you might be headed. It shows you one possible path, one potential narrative. The final and most important question is always left for you to answer. What story will you choose to live?